One thing that with evaluations that I think so many people just skip over them because they don't think they have the time. And I think people think that they have to do these a lot of times at the end of the year. And that's not necessarily true. One of the ways that Chandra and I do them is we try to do them around the anniversary date for that employee. And that makes our life so much easier because we don't have to do 15 one-year evaluations in 2 days, right? We're able to kind of split those up and do things a little bit differently. Chandra, why do you think that's important?
I think that consistency is key. So picking however you're going to do it and consistently doing it to them starts to build that trust with you. But I also really like doing it around an anniversary because I think it makes them feel more special. It makes them realize that you remember it's their anniversary and they can kind of count on knowing that it's coming up because they get used to it after a while. And sometimes they'll save stuff. They'll be like, "I've been wanting to tell you this for a while, but we just haven't been able to have the time to do it," but they know it's coming up so they can, pocket that and talk about it in their meeting. And I mean, I'm not always consistent with this, but I'll even try sometimes to do like a lunch or something with them when I can. Or if it's like a big anniversary, like a 10-year anniversary, we've tried to do something a little bit more special during that meeting. And so I think it really builds excitement in your team. It makes them feel very connected to you and that you actually care, pay attention.
It really does. And as much as structure is important, you really want these one-year evaluations to be culture centered around your culture, your business, the way you do things. Chandra and I may have started creating our one-year evals together, right? Maybe like the structure of them or whatever, but they look completely different now because her culture is one thing, mine is the other. And but they get the job done. I know that we talked earlier, Chandra, about revenue increasing. Once you start seeing these, you see their revenue increase, especially if you're having one-on-ones in between and all of the other stuff going on. Aside from revenue increase, do you feel like people grew or promoted themselves from within a lot quicker once these meetings started happening regularly?
100%. I mean, they definitely, I think it makes them align with the business. And that's something that we're always trying to get, right? You're always hearing people, coaches or books or whatever, talking about like, you got to get them, to see your vision and to be aligned with it and to do all these things. And it's like, but how do you get people to do that? It's like impossible. But this is one of the ways that you can do that. And that's something that I did notice. They promoted quicker within, they moved up faster because they weren't just doing it for themselves anymore. They were doing it also for the bigger picture of the whole company and where they were going with the company instead of just money or just their little business within your business kind of thing, right? Like it was something bigger that they were a part of. And that definitely drove that way faster and much easier on my end than trying to, force the issue all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's so important. Buy-in is huge. It's everything in your business. And like Chandra said, this is a great way to start getting that buy-in, to make them see the bigger picture and make them realize that they matter. I love hearing what my employees have to say about everything in these evaluations. Chandra, what are one or two of your favorite questions to ask out of the evaluation that you have?
I have some that are streamlined for everybody. Sometimes it's a little different, but I think one of my favorite things that I like to ask them is sort of kind of where they're at in the business. Like, are you happy right now? Are things going good right now? I like to hear that because that will pull some things out of them too. That if it's even maybe they're having like a weird issue with a coworker or something, but they don't want to say anything. It's like kind of just asking them about how are things going? Like, what's going on with you? How are you feeling at work? Those are kind of my favorite questions to ask just because I feel like I get more out of those questions than anything number related, right? And so I think that's a good one, just kind of seeing where they're at, and then just kind of asking them if they're happy too, like where they've grown this year. Like I like to know, did they feel like they met their goals? If I do or not, it doesn't matter always. It more so matters if they feel like they've met their goals. So that's another big one that I ask. I feel like we ask a lot of these questions, but I think those two give me some of the most clarity in what's really going on with them, and makes them feel the most connected, that I care, and I do care, but I want them to know that and feel that way, that it's important.
I think that's awesome. I do the same. Like we ask a lot of the same questions, I'm sure, because we think a lot alike. But I also like to throw some far out stuff in there too. I love to ask things like, if you could be a superhero, what would you name yourself? What would your superpowers be? Tell me why, like explain it to me. And if you lived in a fairy tale, what would your life look like? It is amazing. I know that sounds so dumb, but it is amazing at some of the answers that I get where I can dig little pieces of that out and really kind of insert their real life and their goals into that, and just it's cool because I feel like questions like that, they drop people's guard so much, right? It's like, "Oh my gosh, Brie is so silly or stupid," but then, like, that part will be like a paragraph long with so much vital information that I can use, and so, as you are creating these one-year evaluations, make sure that you think outside of the box. Do stuff that's fun, that gets them excited, that you know will be a little silly. I think that's a big mistake that we have made in this industry for so long is everything feels so stuffy. It feels so serious. We are creative people. We own creative businesses. And so we have to remember that everybody thinks up from that creative standpoint quite often. And so when you can kind of drop their guard a little bit and get them involved in a different way, it's really, really cool how things work out.